The stars were bright in the deep dark space. Far away from Earth, an alien fleet moved slowly between the planets they had recently taken. These aliens were proud. They had strong ships and many soldiers. They believed that no one could stop them now. They thought humans were small and weak. The aliens had heard stories about humans before, but they never took these stories seriously. To them, humans were just a small group on a tiny blue planet, not a real threat. But now, something was changing. On the aliens' command ship, the radar beeped loudly. The officers looked at the screen with surprise and fear. There was a huge object coming very fast toward them. It was not like any ship they had seen before. It was a human warship. The human warship was big and strong. It was shining with bright lights and had many weapons on its body. It moved like a ghost in space, fast and silent. The aliens did not expect to see this. They quickly told their leaders. The alien commander stood up and looked at the screen. His eyes grew wide. He did not know much about humans, but he knew this ship could be dangerous. On the human warship inside the big control room, the captain stood quietly. His name was Captain Reed. He was calm and ready. He looked at the stars through a large window. He thought about Earth, his home, and the people he had promised to protect. The humans had made this ship to stop the alien threat and protect their planet. This was the most important mission in history. Captain Reed spoke to his crew. "Get ready. We are going to show them that humans are not weak. We are strong and we will fight for our home." The crew worked fast. They checked their weapons and shields. The warship was full of machines and computers. Everyone was ready for the fight. The human soldiers knew this battle could change the future. Some of them were scared, but they trusted Captain Reed and their training. As the human warship moved closer to the alien fleet, the aliens began to prepare for battle. Their ships moved in tight groups. They turned on their lasers and missiles. The sky filled with flashing lights and loud sounds. The aliens fired first. Bright beams of light shot through space, trying to hit the human ship. The human warship was fast. It moved carefully, dodging the alien attacks. It fired back with strong energy beams. The beams hit alien ships and made big explosions. Pieces of metal and fire flew in all directions. The aliens were surprised. They did not expect the human ship to be so powerful. The battle had just started, but already the aliens felt the power of the human warship. The captain of the alien fleet shouted orders. "Attack! Don't let them win!" The humans inside their ship worked together. The pilots flew with skill. The engineers fixed small problems quickly. The soldiers controlled the weapons with sharp eyes. Every person was ready to do their part. The warship moved like a fast bird, weaving between enemy fire. It was hard to hit. The aliens fired again and again, but many of their shots missed. Captain Reed stayed calm. He knew this was a dangerous fight. He trusted his crew. He believed that humans could win if they worked as one. The alien ships started to lose their first fights. Some ships caught fire and fell apart. The aliens shouted and grew angry. They never thought humans could be so strong. The human warship kept moving forward. It was ready to fight for a long time. The stars around them seemed to shine brighter. With every explosion, the aliens realized they had a big problem. The small humans were not so small after all. The warship was a giant in space. It was coming to destroy their fleet. Captain Reed looked at the radar one last time. He smiled. This was only the beginning. The warship was ready to fight for Earth and show the galaxy that humans were a new power to be afraid of. The human warship moved deeper into the alien fleet. The stars around them were quiet for a moment, but inside the ship everything was busy. The crew was focused and ready. Captain Reed stood by the big control panel. His eyes scanned the screens, watching every move the aliens made. The aliens were not ready to lose. Their ships formed strong groups, trying to surround the human warship. They fired many lasers and missiles, hoping to stop it before it reached their main fleet. But the warship was fast and smart. It used special technology to dodge many attacks. Inside the ship, the crew worked like a well-oiled machine. The pilots flew the warship with great skill. The engineers kept the ship running smoothly, fixing any problems fast. The soldiers controlled the weapons, aiming carefully at the enemy ships. Captain Reed gave quiet orders. Keep shields up. Focus on the big ships first. We need to break their line. The warship's weapons glowed with power. It fired beams of energy that cut through space. The beams hit alien ships and caused huge explosions. Pieces of metal and fire flew everywhere. The aliens were shocked. Their ships began to fall one by one. The alien commanders shouted in anger. We must stop that ship. It is destroying us. They sent faster fighters to attack the warship from all sides. The fighters were small and quick, trying to find a weak point, but the human warship's shields were strong. The fighters could not break through. Captain Reed watched the battle closely. He knew the aliens would not give up easily. He said to his crew, "We must be ready for anything. Stay sharp." Suddenly, the alien fleet used a new weapon. From one of their largest ships, glowing energy tendrils shot out into space. These tendrils moved fast like snakes. They tried to wrap around the human warship, to trap it and stop its power. The crew was tense. This was a dangerous attack. Tendrils began to touch the warship's outer hull. Sparks flew. The ship shook. The crew worked quickly to strengthen the shields. Captain Reed said, "Activate countermeasures. Send electric shocks back at the tendrils." The engineers pushed buttons and turned switches. The warship sent strong electric pulses. The tendrils sizzled and pulled back. The alien ships tried again, but the human warship was ready. It fought back with power and speed. The battle was loud and bright. The warship moved like a giant eagle, striking hard and fast. The aliens fired their weapons again and again, but many missed. The human crew stayed calm and focused. The pilots flew the warship through the chaos. They dodged missiles and lasers. The soldiers fired energy beams that destroyed more alien ships. The engineers kept the ship working, fixing damage fast. Captain Reed saw their chance. He ordered, "Focus fire on the biggest alien ship. We must break their command." The crew aimed their strongest weapons. The warship fired a powerful beam of energy. It hit the alien command ship with a loud explosion. The command ship shook and started to break apart. The aliens were confused and scared. Their leaders could not control the battle anymore. Some ships turned back, trying to escape. Captain Reed smiled. "We are winning. Keep pushing forward." The warship moved through the alien fleet stronger than before. The aliens tried to fight back, but their forces were breaking. The battle was far from over, but the humans showed their strength. The warship was a symbol of hope and power. Captain Reed looked at the stars again. He knew more challenges were coming, but he believed in his crew and the future of humanity. The battle in space was fierce. The human warship had already destroyed many alien ships, but the aliens were not ready to give up. They sent more fighters and bigger ships to stop the warship. The alien commanders knew that if they lost this fight, their whole plan to control the galaxy could fail. Inside the human warship, the crew worked quickly and carefully. Captain Reed stood in the control room watching the enemy ships on the big screen. The warship shook as enemy missiles hit its shields, but the shields held strong. The human soldiers were calm but focused, ready to fight for their home. The aliens tried a new tactic. They released fast and small attack ships that moved like swarms of angry insects. These ships came from every side, trying to surround the human warship. The pilots inside the warship had to fly carefully, moving the ship in sharp turns to avoid being hit. The crew fired back with strong energy beams and missiles. Many alien ships exploded in bright fire. The battle was loud with sounds of lasers, explosions, and alarms from the warship. The crew worked as a team, trusting each other to win. Captain Reed shouted, "Keep moving, don't let them trap us, use all weapons and stay alert." Suddenly, the aliens used a new kind of weapon. From one big alien ship, long glowing energy. Tendrils shot out into space like snakes. They tried to grab the human warship and stop its power. The tendrils wrapped around the ship's arms and hull, trying to pull it in. The crew worked fast. Engineers sent strong electric shocks through the ship's hull. The shocks made the tendrils pull back, burning their tips. The warship's shields held strong, and the tendrils could not break them. Captain Reed saw an opening. He ordered, "Fire the heavy cannons. Aim for the tendril ships." The heavy cannons fired huge blasts of energy. They hit the alien ships that controlled the tendrils, destroying them one by one. The tendrils lost their power and fell away. The aliens growled in anger. Their ships fired back with more lasers and missiles. But the human warship was fast and smart. It dodged many attacks and fired powerful beams that destroyed more alien ships. The captain smiled. "We are pushing them back. Keep fighting. We can win this." The warship moved through the battle, strong and fearless. The crew felt hope and courage. They knew their fight was important for Earth and all humans. Suddenly, a loud alarm sounded. The warship's sensors showed many alien ships gathering ahead. The alien commanders were planning something big. They wanted to stop the warship once and for all. Captain Reed called the crew. "Get ready. They are sending their strongest fleet. We must fight with all our power." The warship's weapons glowed brighter. The crew prepared for the next big battle. The stars around them seemed to watch silently as two great forces prepared to clash. The captain looked out at the endless dark space. He thought about his home, his family, and the people waiting on Earth. He promised himself to protect them, no matter what. The warship moved forward, ready to face the new challenge. The fight was not over. It was just beginning. The stars seemed to watch silently as the human warship faced the alien fleet ahead. The alien commanders had gathered their strongest ships in one place. These were massive war machines, armed with the deadliest weapons. The alien leaders knew this was their last chance to stop the human ship before it destroyed their entire fleet. Inside the human warship, the crew was tense, but ready. Captain Reed stood firm in the control room. He looked at the glowing screens showing hundreds of enemy ships coming closer. His voice was calm but strong. "This is the hardest fight yet. We must be ready to face everything they send." The warship's weapon systems powered up. The glowing energy cannons hummed with power. The shields glowed bright blue, covering the ship like an invisible wall. The crew checked every system again. The engineers worked fast to repair small damages from the earlier fights. Outside, the alien fleet roared like a storm. Ships fired, missiles and lasers lighting up the dark space. The human warship moved carefully but with confidence. The pilots flew with skill, dodging and weaving through the enemy fire. Captain Reed gave clear orders. "Target their biggest ships first, break their lines and make them weak." The human warship fired powerful beams of energy. The beams struck the alien ships hard, causing big explosions. Some alien ships caught fire and broke apart. The fleet's formation began to fall apart, but the aliens were not finished. They released their secret weapon, a giant glowing tentacle made of energy. It shot out from their largest ship like a giant snake. It moved fast, trying to grab the human warship. The crew felt the ship shake as the tentacle touched the shields. Sparks flew. The ship's lights flickered, but the shields held strong. The engineers sent electric shocks through the hull, making the tentacle pull back with a loud sizzle. Captain Reed shouted, "Fire all cannons! Destroy that ship!" The warship's cannons glowed bright. They fired huge blasts at the giant alien ship. The blasts hit the ship's hull with heavy force. The ship rocked and began to break apart. The alien commanders screamed in anger and fear. Their secret weapon was failing. The human warship did not stop. It moved forward, firing and dodging. The pilots flew like eagles in battle, moving fast and sharp. The soldiers aimed carefully, destroying one enemy ship after another. The alien fleet was losing power. Many ships started to retreat. The warship fired one last strong beam of energy, hitting the alien command ship. The command ship exploded in a huge fireball, sending pieces flying into space. The battle was over. Captain Reed stood quietly, looking at the stars. The crew cheered softly, but everyone knew the fight was not finished. This victory was important, but more challenges would come. The human warship moved slowly, ready to return home. The captain thought about Earth and the people waiting there. He promised to protect them no matter what. The stars shone brightly around the ship as it moved away from the battlefield. The humans had won this fight, but the war for the galaxy was far from over. The human warship moved through deep space, quiet now after the long battle. Inside, the crew was fixing broken systems and checking for hidden damage. The ship had won a great fight, but everyone knew more danger was coming. The galaxy was still full of enemies. Captain Reed stood near the big window, staring into the stars. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. He could feel something strange in the distance. A new threat was waiting. Something bigger than the last battle. "Captain," said the communication officer, "we picked up a strange signal. It's coming from a dead zone. No stars, no planets. Nothing should be there." Captain Reed looked at the screen. The signal was weak, but it repeated over and over. "It could be a trap," he said, "but it could also be a warning." The crew listened carefully. The signal was not in any known language, but the pattern looked familiar. It almost looked like old Earth Morse code, dot and dash patterns. The ship's system worked to decode it. Then the message came. "They are coming, stronger, faster, many. Destroy them before they wake." The crew stared at the screen. What did it mean? Who was they, and what did "before they wake" mean? Captain Reed gave a firm order. "Change course, head toward the signal. We need answers." The warship turned and moved toward the empty zone. Space there was dark and cold. It felt like nothing had ever lived there, but as the warship moved closer, strange shapes began to appear in the distance. The crew gasped as they saw them. Giant alien ships, much bigger than anything they had ever seen. But these ships were not moving. They looked old, like they had been sleeping for thousands of years. "What are they?" one of the pilots asked. The science officer scanned the ships. "These ships are not active, they are in deep sleep. But their power is still strong. If they wake up, they could destroy everything." Captain Reed narrowed his eyes. "So this is what the message warned us about." Then suddenly, one of the giant ships lit up. Its engines began to glow. Its weapons started to power up. One ship was waking. Captain Reed shouted, "Fire at it! Don't wait!" The human warship fired its strongest energy cannons. The blast hit the alien ship hard. But the alien ship's shield turned on just in time. It fired back with a massive laser, and the warship shook. The crew fought hard. The pilots flew the warship in fast moves. The engineers worked to keep the ship's shield strong. The weapons team fired again and again, trying to stop the alien ship before the others woke up too. Captain Reed knew they were running out of time. "We must destroy this one before the rest of them power up." The warship released a special missile, one that was saved for the most dangerous moments. The missile flew fast and hit the alien ship's weak point. A huge explosion filled space with light. The alien ship broke apart and burned, but on the radar, 2 more ships were waking up. Captain Reed took a deep breath. "Get ready, everyone. We just stepped into something bigger than we thought." The crew nodded. They were tired, but they were not afraid. The warship moved again, heading toward the next ship. The real war had just begun. The warship moved closer to the 2 giant alien ships waking in the dark space. The stars seemed dim around them, as if the universe was holding its breath. Captain Reed stood tall in the control room, his eyes sharp and ready. The crew was tense, but strong. They had faced danger before, but this felt bigger. The alien ships were enormous, bigger than any ship the humans had seen. Their metal was dark and shining, covered with strange symbols. Slowly, the ship's engines glowed brighter, and their weapons began to hum. The crew watched carefully. If these ships fully woke, they could destroy whole planets. "Captain," said the science officer, "their shields are the strongest we've ever seen. Our normal weapons will not work." Captain Reed's face tightened. "Then we must use the new weapon, the one we tested but never fired." The weapons officer nodded and prepared the special weapon. It was a powerful energy beam, focused from the ship's core. It could cut through any shield, but it could only be used once. If it failed, the crew would have no other option. The alien ships began to move slowly at first, then faster. They fired warning shots at the human warship, lighting the dark space with beams of energy. The warship shook from the hits, but its shields held strong. Captain Reed gave the order, Prepare to fire the core beam. Aim for the heart of the first ship. The crew worked fast. The energy beam charged, glowing bright like a star. The warship's hull hummed with power. Everyone watched the screen with tense eyes. When the beam fired, it cut through space like a blade. It hit the alien ship's shield and burned through it like fire. The alien ship shook and started to break apart. Pieces of metal and light exploded, outward. The other giant ship growled in anger. It fired a huge blast at the human warship. The blast was strong and the shields weakened. The warship's alarm screamed. "Damage report," Captain Reed shouted. The engineers answered quickly. "Shields down 50%, hull integrity holding. We can fix it, but we need time." Captain Reed did not waste a moment. "Evasive maneuvers. Use every trick we have to avoid their fire." The pilots moved the warship with great skill. They flew fast, dodging the powerful blasts. The soldiers fired missiles and energy bolts at the second giant ship. They worked together, trying to weaken its defenses. The battle was fierce and loud. Explosions lit the space around them. The crew fought with all their strength, knowing the fate of Earth depended on them. Suddenly, a small ship appeared from the darkness. It was fast and silent. It moved toward the human warship like a deadly shadow. The crew gasped. This was an alien fighter, sent to strike quickly and disappear. Captain Reed yelled, "Defend the ship! Target that fighter!" The soldiers fired. Their lasers, but the fighter moved too fast. It launched a small missile that hit the warship's side. The ship shook again. The engineers rushed to repair the damage while the pilots chased the fighter. The fighter tried to escape, but the human pilots were faster. They fired a precise shot, hitting the alien fighter and destroying it in a flash of light. Captain Reed breathed deeply. "Good job, team. Stay focused. This fight is not over." The warship's crew was tired but determined. They knew this battle was only the beginning of a larger war. The alien giants were strong, but the humans were stronger in spirit and will. The captain looked at the stars ahead. "We must keep fighting. For Earth. For everyone who believes in peace." The warship moved forward, ready to face whatever came next. The human warship moved through the dark space, heavy with silence after the fierce battle. Captain Reed stood in the control room watching the stars pass by. The crew was tired but proud. They had won a great fight, but the war was not over. Suddenly the ship's sensors picked up a strange signal. It was different from before. This one was close and strong. The communication officer looked worried. "Captain, the signal is coming from a small planet nearby. It looks like a distress call." Captain Reed nodded. "Set a course for that planet. We must help whoever is sending this call." The warship changed direction and moved quickly toward the planet. As they got closer, the crew saw that the planet was covered in dark clouds. Lightning flashed in the sky and the ground looked rough and broken. When they entered the planet's orbit, the warship's cameras showed something surprising. There were large machines on the surface like giant towers, but they were damaged and silent. The distress call was coming from a small base near one of these towers. Captain Reed gathered his team. "We don't know who is sending this call, but they need help. Prepare a landing party." A small shuttle left the warship and moved down to the planet's surface. The team inside was ready for anything. They landed near the base and stepped out into the cold, dark air. The base was quiet and empty. The walls were cracked and signs of battle were everywhere. Inside, the team found an alien survivor. He was weak but alive. His skin was pale, and his eyes were full of fear. "I am Zorak," he said softly. "Our people were attacked by a dark force. They destroyed our home and took many prisoners. We sent the distress call hoping for help." Captain Reed looked at Zorak and felt a deep sadness. "We will help you. Tell us everything you know." Zorak explained that the Dark Force was a group of powerful aliens who wanted to control all life in the galaxy. They were stronger than anyone had imagined. The giant ships that the human warship fought were only a small part of this threat. "We must stop them before they take over everything," Zorak said. "But we cannot do it alone," Captain Reed agreed. "Then we will fight together, humans and your people united." The team returned to the warship with Zorak. the captain called a meeting with the crew. This war is bigger than us. We need new allies and new plans. But I believe in our strength and courage. The crew listened and felt hope grow in their hearts. They knew the fight would be long and hard, but they were ready. Days passed as the Warship and Zorak's team worked together. They repaired their ship and prepared new weapons. They shared stories and learned from each other. Then, one night, the Warship's sensors detected a large alien fleet moving fast toward their position. The Dark Force was coming to finish the war. Captain Reed stood tall. This is it. The final battle. For Earth, for freedom, for all life. The crew took their places. The warship moved forward into the dark stars, ready to face the enemy one last time. Lasers flashed, engines roared, and the battle began again. But this time, the humans were not alone. Zorak's people fought beside them, strong and fearless. Together they fought with all their might. The warship's weapons fired faster and stronger. The enemy ships exploded one after another. The Dark Force tried to push back, but the united team was too strong. Slowly, the enemy fleet broke apart and fled. When the battle ended, silence returned to space. The stars shone bright, and the warship sailed home. Captain Reed looked at his crew with pride. We have won this battle, but we must stay ready. The galaxy is big and danger is never far. The crew smiled, knowing they had done something great. They had saved Earth and made new friends in the stars. The human warship moved forward, toward new adventures and new hopes. The war was over, for now,